let me see here. I want to go some of my images to show you what I really mean. So the first image, these are raw images. What I did was I changed picture profile from poetry. I normally put on portrait mode, less contrast, to more contrast, standard mode. All right, so here you see the standard. And for D-lighting, sometimes I change this to normal. Sometimes I leave as the camera setting now. So for this is default. All right, so this one's shot at 120, wide open. And the focus point is this red box. It's a red square on the slow man. Right now we're at 100%. One-to-one reproduction. All right, so if I scroll out a little bit, and you can see everything's tag sharp on the focal plane here. And that is the situation for wide open. And this was shot at ISO 2000. All right, let me see. Here is the so-called autofocus blurs that you can see at wide open f4. So 120 blur areas, blurred highlights. I simply tune this autofocus. You can go either smaller or larger for these blur circles. Depends on how far further away you want to focus out. So for this one, even more focus out of the focus. So that's f4. And this one is at 86 or 85 millimeter. That gives you the blur look. All right, so the other two I have comparison. This one's shot at 24 f4. When everybody was sleeping, you know, I was taking shot like this. The focus point maybe is just on the tree, the Christmas tree here. As you can see, you can definitely see the lights have trails or the sun star effects, even at wide open here. All right, if I turn this autofocus, this is what it looks like. Beautiful, right? Isn't it? All right, the next two comparison. The contrast here may be a little too strong, but you get the point. The focus point is on the slow man, not slow man, I mean the skier. Skier here. If I turn this out of focus at f16, you can definitely see the sun star effects on these specular highlights here. All right, and another two more comparisons. This is at 120 at a minimum focusing distance, that is 35 centimeters. And this particular image, the focus is on this little flower here. And you can see the toy's face is totally blurred. And you can see the blur effects for autofocus areas under available light. And now the focus point changed from the flower to her face. But unfortunately, I didn't select pinpoint. I selected just single point, which happens to pick up strands of hair here instead of the face. So face is a little bit out of focus. So this is not a minimal focus distance, but you get the blur effects for front as well as for autofocus behind the focal point. The next series will be shooting from all the focal range, I believe. This is a 120 at f4. at 100%. And that is 85 or 86 millimeter focal length. The slow man is the focal point, the red box here, at 100%. The next one is 70 millimeter. Again, slow man, focal point. And the next one, tried to capture 50, but I got 49, pretty close enough. Focus on the slow man. You don't want to do 200%, let's do 100%. And the next one, 35. They're all shot at wide open f4. Slow man again. And the next one would be 28, next to focal point, focal range. It's 28. Again, slow man. And the next one is the wide angle part, 24. That's the one to 13% the whole image. If I zoom in at 100%, and that's how the image looks like. Everything's cool. So I did the focus test. This is my focus chart. I shot at none end. Focal point is this 0 here, and I check spot on. I did another shot, spot on. All right, and so this is the so-called resolution test. As there are some blurriness here, it's not because my camera's problem, it's the paper, the inkjet or laser printer can only print this fine, you know. So they had to put things together like this. And this one, automatically the camera selects, I guess, maybe mechanic shutter. And one more with flash. All right, so far the lens looks cool. But no lens is perfect. Every lens has its own situations or trade-offs. So let's say here, this is the backyard. I just randomly shot this at a wide open. I know I'm not supposed to do wide open, but I did a wide open, and the focal point is this particular spot. So naturally the corners will be blurry, and even a vignette, lots of vignette, but that's fine. So what I'm trying to say here is I'm interested in any purple fringing for high contrasts things. Yes, here. When I zoom into 100%, I don't say anything, but if I go crazy, 200%, I start to say things, 300%, 400%, definitely you can see purple fringing on these little branches. Is this the end of the world? No. And what I can do is I can do the correction here. Camera and lens correction. So what I'm using is, I don't use a Lightroom or C1, Capture One. I use Nikon's NX Studio. It's because I'm not a high volume shooter anyway. Those things are for high volume shooters, wedding photographers, event photographers like that. All right, so what I want to do is I want to get onto the lens correction here, turn on the axial color aberration, and we'll see which direction we should go. Let's go to left. They're still there. All the way. They're still there, so I go to the other direction. All right, so I want to pull down a little bit. Let's see, half of that value. A little bit less. Bingo. Either way. If you don't have time, you can go all the way to the right. If you do have the time, you can play with the slider. That is lens correction. You don't need a lens profile or anything because it's a Nikon product. It knows everything. All right, so that is the current setting. That's all there is you need to do to correct any purple fringing or any other aberrations. All right, thanks for watching. Next time I'm probably gonna shoot some test charts to see what kind of distortion or vignette, if you're interested, this lens can produce. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year to you guys.